ready for some football. I don't know about you. Who else could it be but your man Lou? Yeah.
The LouieTeeNetwork is powered by MusicHead University. MusicHeads, classes in session. Turn me up. Enroll on YouTube now. Link is in the description.
Who else could it be? Me, your man, Louie T. Welcome to Thursday Night Football overtime. Saints, Rams. This was a big game. You know, on paper, maybe it doesn't look like two teams that you really think about in the grand scheme of things in the NFC, but this is a big game in terms of playoff seeding, importance when we start talking about the playoffs, potentially the wild card. The Saints are still right in the thick of things in the NFC South division, but should things fall apart there, they're right in the mix in the wild card chase, and this is a big game. When you start talking about tiebreakers, these are the kind of games that start to matter. So this was a big one, but I never gave the Saints a chance in this game because I told you, and I've been saying this all season long, something's off with the Saints. And we could go to the injury, standpoint and talk about all the injuries that they've suffered this season and things of that nature. They had most of their guys healthy tonight. Alvin Kamara was healthy. The running back from the Lions, Jamal Williams was healthy. They had Chris Olave healthy tonight. They had Rashid Shaheed healthy. Like they had Michael Thomas. I don't count him anymore. I stopped counting him like 4 years ago. He's not a really big part of this offense anymore because he's never healthy. So I don't count Michael Thomas anymore. All of the guys that you count on, the tight end that I thought was going to have a monster year and injuries really derailed that. But the tight end, Jawan Johnson, was healthy tonight. They had all their stuff offensively. Defensively, another story. They've dealt with a ton of injuries, but that's not the point. Before the injuries took effect, the Saints were struggling. So I don't know. I've said this all year long. I can't quite put my finger on exactly what's wrong with the Saints, but I knew they weren't good enough to beat the Rams. The Rams are playing hot football right now, and I know they lost to the Ravens, but it took overtime and a special teams punt return for a touchdown to knock the Rams off in the rain, right? Like the Rams were game, they were ready, and they were taking it to those boys, and they pushed them to the brink. The Rams are legit right now. And you know what's funny? If we go all the way back to week one, we said week one, or not we, I said week one, maybe this Rams team isn't as bad as we think, right? They went to Seattle. Cam Akers was still there, and he was still, playing a prevalent role in what they were doing at that time. And he scores that touchdown on that 4th and 1 toss from Stafford, and they win that game going away against Seattle in week one. And you go, Puka Nacua is going apeshit then. No Cooper Kupp. We just all assume without Cooper Kupp for the first 4 to 5 weeks, they don't stand a chance. And then Puka Nacua pretty much filled the Cooper Kupp role, right? And they jumped out of the gates week one, went to Seattle, stole one, and you're like, maybe they're not as bad as we think. And then, 6 weeks later, you're like, no, they're everything that we thought they were. They suck, right? They're not really that good. And we wrote them off. We left the Rams for dead. But they got healthy. Some of the young guys that they're relying on started to play better football, became more reliable players that you could count on week in and week out. The inconsistencies kind of went by the wayside. They got healthier and healthier on the offensive side of football. Higbee's back. Kyron Williams is back because he was out for a little stretch there. Remember, they traded away Cam Akers, and Kyron Williams was made the feature back. Then he got hurt, and they were without him. And then Brett Rippon was in there against Green Bay because Stafford was hurt. So they were dealing with a bunch of shit. But now, Kyron Williams is healthy. He's on a tear right now. Matthew Stafford is playing some of the best football. And I'm going to offer up a double O to Matthew Stafford tonight. I owe him that much because I was very disrespectful to Matthew Stafford. Very, very disrespectful to the future Hall of Famer, Matthew Stafford. I know some of you don't want to hear that. Some of you don't believe that. But once he won that Super Bowl, it was written, because the numbers, when you look at Matthew Stafford and you compare him to the rest of the elite NFL quarterbacks, and you look where he is in the pantheon of NFL passers, he's in the top 10 of a lot of statistical categories. And when he's done, when he finally hangs it up, he's going to be in the top 7, maybe even the top 5 of a lot of statistical categories. So Stafford is going to be a Hall of Famer at some point. May not be first ballot, but he's going to make the Hall of Fame because he won a Super Bowl. And he's on a tear right now, is Matthew Stafford. They've struggled the last 2 weeks in the red zone in particular, so the numbers could even be better. But what Stafford is doing right now is crazy. Let me change this, because I was tripping. Hold on. I just jumped on and ain't even get the shit straight. So we should be good now. So Stafford jumped in there, threw another 2 touchdowns. It's 14 touchdowns, 1 interception over his last 6 or 7 starts. Like, the dude is right now at a different level. So I'm just telling you right now, Stafford, I left him for dead. Literally, I left this man for dead. I said he needs to retire. He's old hat. You know how it goes. Father Time is undefeated, and Stafford is your time, bro. If it ain't your back, it's your thumb. If it ain't your thumb, it's your knee. If it ain't your knee, it's your back. Like, it's always something with you, bro. It's if it ain't that, it's a concussion. Like, it's time, right? I was calling for him. Like the Sandman, I had the little umbrella, the little cane, and the little hook, and I was trying to pull him off the stage. And he was like, bro, bad back. I got this. I ain't done yet. And Stafford even went as far as to say, bro, I'm not retiring no time soon. Don't come for me. Go look at Aaron Rodgers and some of these other old-ass quarterbacks. Don't come for me, because I still got another 3-4 years in me. I'm good over here. Well, he's playing like it. And he was spectacular tonight, and he's been spectacular over the last 6 games or so, 7 games, since the Rams had this resurgence. And now they're over 500 for the first time in a long time. I can't even remember the last time the Saints were over 500 this year. They've been fighting this uphill battle just to get to 500, and they got to 500 at 6-6, lose to the Ravens, drop back to 6-7. They win against the Commanders, get back to 500, and now they win tonight, get over 500 and 8-7. And I genuinely believe they're one of the wild card teams in the NFC when it's all said and done. And they're going to be dangerous when they get into the playoffs. They're one of those teams where you go, yeah, if I can avoid them, I'm good. Like, if Detroit don't get their shit together, and it seems like Detroit is starting to right the ship, but you better hope you don't draw the Saints. I'll just say that. Like, I'm not telling you they're a world beater, but it ain't gonna be easy sledding against these boys. If you're the 2 seed, you'd rather them not be the 7 seed. You'd rather them be the 6 seed and say, hey, let the third seed, which is more likely than not going to be the Lions, but it could end up being the Cowboys, or it could end up being the Eagles, whoever wins the NFC East. It could be that team. Whatever the case may be, I don't want any parts of the Rams right now, and especially if they fix their red zone situation, which has been a problem. It wasn't a problem prior to the Commanders game, but it's been a problem the last 2 weeks in particular, especially if they fix that shit. These boys are moving the football. Demarcus Robinson has emerged as a third option at receiver, and that makes them uber dangerous, because no matter who's at tight end, whether it's Davis Allen from Clemson, or it's Tyler Higbee, they got a weapon at tight end. Maybe 2 now, with the confidence that Davis Allen has gained with this stretch where there was no Tyler Higbee and he had to step up, including that Ravens game where he was huge. Or these receivers, you got Cooper Kupp, you got Puka Nacua, and now you got Demarcus Robinson, and God forbid they work in Tutu Atwell, right? Like, he's the one guy that can really vertically stretch the football field. You work him in there, and this is a dangerous Rams offense right now, especially with the way Kyron Williams is running the football. Like, you really don't want to see the Rams right now. Like, and I'm not telling you the Rams are going to the Super Bowl. We do this in every single sport, right? When you get close to the playoffs, there's always a team, if you have Super Bowl or you have championship aspirations, no matter what the sport is. Every year, there's one team that's playing hot ball towards the end of the year, whether it's baseball, basketball, and you go, hey, I don't want to play this team in the playoffs. It's not because they're going to beat you, especially if you play in a series like basketball or baseball or even hockey does. Like, hockey is a little different. You don't want to play a hot team in hockey, especially if they got a hot goaltender. But it's not like that team's going to eliminate you. They're just going to push you to the brink. If you're a 2 seed and you expect to coast through the first round, and they say, hey, you don't want to play this team, and you draw that team as a 7 seed, and they might take you to 6 or 7 games, and it might be a tough, grueling 6-7 game series. You win, but you expended a lot of energy. Meanwhile, the 1 seed swept the 8 seed, right? Like, that's what we're talking about. Like, you don't want to see this team, not because they're going to beat you, but because they're going to make you work. That's where the Rams are. But this is football. This ain't a series. This ain't the best out of 7. They just got to beat you one time. They're dangerous right now. That's real talk. They're dangerous right now. You really don't want to play the Rams as is right now. They're playing at a high level. They dominated the Saints tonight. And if not for the red zone woes, as I mentioned, this is a 40 burger tonight. This is a comfortable 40 burger, right? Missed field goal, 2 red zone trips that ended in field goal attempts where they were inside the 5-yard line. Like, this could have got ugly, a lot uglier than what it really was. And on the Saints side of things, you're a 3rd down failed conversion to Chris Olave, ball slightly behind him and a little hot. Still want your first-round pick from 2022 to catch that. That's why you drafted him in the first round, to make that catch, despite Derek Carr putting that thing slightly behind him and a little hot unnecessarily. Still want him to catch that. That's the difference in this game. Honestly, we were on the verge of having a close ball game. It was 14-10. Saints were on the move. And Chris Olave doesn't come up with that ball. And again, I put that more on Derek Carr than I do Chris Olave. That ball was hot. I'm talking about, bro, we 5 to 6 yards of separation between each other, and you throwing the bitch a lot. They probably, because Derek Carr dropped back another 3 or 4 yards, then threw it 5 yards in front of him. So we talk about 8 to 9 yards of separation, and you throwing that bitch 99 miles an hour. You put some hot sauce to go on that bitch, and it was high and behind him, right? He's falling down towards the first down marker, and that shit's back this way. I still want him to catch that. I know he's capable of catching that, but that's not where he expected that football to be, and that's not where that – and Carr wasn't under duress. That's not where that football should have been. That was a miss on Derek Carr's part, but I still would like Chris Olave to find a way to catch that. I know it's a tough catch, but that's why they drafted you in the first round. We don't draft guys in the first round that we don't think can make that catch. We draft those guys in the 5th or 6th or 7th round. We draft those guys in the first round because you're supposed to make your quarterback right in those situations. And Olave didn't there, which was a big miss because you went for it on 4th down. You don't complete it. And the game was never the same. That's a 14-10 game at that juncture. And the Saints have a chance. After all the struggles, they moved the football in the first 2 possessions, had nothing to show for it, struggled, from that point forward. Then the Rams miss a field goal up 10-0 that had a chance to push it to 13-0, missed the field goal. You get the big play to Shaheed over the top, cut it to 10-7. And at that point, you really had a chance to take it to the Rams, right? I think I keep saying it's 14-10. I think it was 17. Was it? No, it was 10-7. It was 10-7. That's the score. And you had a chance to take the lead. And that missed opportunity by Carr to Olave brought up the 4th down. You don't convert. And at that point, The Rams took that bitch down the field right before the half, scored the touchdown, took the 17-7 lead, scored again after halftime, took a 24-7 lead, and that was all she wrote. Carr threw that pick. That set up the touchdown, 24-7. You were dead at that point. And then they just field goaled you to death, 27-7, 30-7. You get the touchdown, then you get a garbage time touchdown, go for two, get that, cut it to 30-22, cut it to a one-score lead, but you couldn't get the stop when you needed it to preserve an opportunity to get the football back in your hands. You had a 3rd and 5 with 2 minutes left. You didn't get the stop, and that was all she wrote. And at the end of the day, I've said this already about the Saints. They're missing something. I can't quite put my finger on what it is, but they haven't been whole all season long. And I don't know. I would love to talk to a Saints fan that could just convey to me what exactly is wrong with the Saints and why they can't put a full game together. I've been talking about empty calories with Derek Carr all year long. How many 300-yard passing games has he had this year where they've lost, and it really didn't feel like a 300-yard pass game, and it was kind of like, yeah, garbage time stats, and like you didn't really feel the impact of the 300 yards that he passed for. That's what this game felt like. Like this didn't feel like he threw for 300 yards. This felt like, yeah, he got his numbers up at the end of the game when the Rams were essentially playing like prevent, keep everything in front of us, let them have all the underneath stuff, let them burn clock. Clock is our friend. They catch it inbounds. We're cool with that. Just nothing deep, cheap and deep over the top. Let's talk about the Rams. They're now 8-7. And I've already talked about all the things that I'm excited about for them on the offensive side of the football. Defensively, you know what's really interesting about their defense is if you're not paying attention, you have no idea who these dudes are. Like the Rams literally are the new no-name defense in the NFL. And I'm not telling you they're a great group, far from it, but they're well coached. It's a bunch of scrappy dudes that weren't drafted in the 1st or the 2nd round for the most part. Bunch of guys just fighting to create a niche for themselves in the NFL is third. And this is the thing. Like, you got to give credit where credit is due. Like, the Rams mortgaged their future to win that Super Bowl in 2021. Like, they said, to hell with everything else. We win in this bitch. And we don't care what we got to give up. And the Rams have never really given a shit about draft picks. They've already made it abundantly clear. Sean McVay said the future is now. Like, I don't give a damn about 2025. I don't give a damn about 2024. I care about right now. I might not be the coach of this team in 2024. I don't give a shit about 2025. Let the next man deal with that shit if I'm not here. I care about right now. Give up whatever pick you got to get Von Miller. Give up whatever pick you got to give up to get Jalen Ramsey, right? Give up whatever you got to get Matthew Stafford. We trying to win a Super Bowl now, and they won that thing in 2021. But they paid for it by not having a first round pick in a bunch of years. They might finally get back in the first round in this year's draft. I think this is their first time being in the first round. If not this year, it'll be next year. I mean, they haven't been in the first round since like 2017 or 18. That's real talk. I'm not bullshitting you. Like, it's been that long since these boys been in the first round. They don't give a damn, right? But you know what that forces you to have to be able to do? Man, that forces you to be able to have to evaluate talent in the 3rd, in the 4th, in the 5th, in the 6th, in the 7th round. Undrafted dude. You got to be able to evaluate talent because you ain't got that surefire 1st or 2nd round dude that you can draft and say, hey, this guy's going to be a linchpin or a cornerstone of our organization for the next 7 to 10 years. You got to find these dudes in the 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th, and 7th round. And that's what they've been doing, you know. What is it, Ernest Jones? Or it's the Fuller kid out of Ohio State, or it's Yeast at the cornerback position, whether it's Kobe Durant, right? Like they keep finding these dudes, man. And most people don't know any of these names. Like these guys, like Ahkello Witherspoon is having his best season of his career. Most people don't know who the hell Ahkello Witherspoon is. Right? If you're a Falcons fan, you do. If you're a 49ers fan, you know his name. But outside of those two franchises where he's played, you have no, well, I shouldn't say two. He's probably played for more than two teams. Probably played for like 3 or 4 teams. But most people don't know who Ahkello Witherspoon is. Like, he's playing his ass off. Right. I think he was with the Steelers. He was with the Falcons and with the 49ers prior to the Rams, I think. I might be missing a team in there. He's having a career year, is Ahkello Witherspoon. Right? They got a bunch of no-name dudes that are just stepping up. What you know about Bobby Brown, right? Bobby Brown the second or whatever. like these are dudes that are stepping up, right? They got a Kobe with a C and a Kobe with a K. What you know about that? Right? Like, you don't. But these boys are playing ball. And they found ways to find guys that can step in there and get the job done for them. And I'm impressed. I'd be lying if I said I wasn't. Between Stafford's resurgence, finding Puka Nacua in the 5th, 6th, 7th round, whatever round he was, I think he was a 5th round pick, and having him burst onto the NFL scene and landscape the way that he's done this season. Cooper Kupp's back now and got the tight end position chirping in, and Kyron Williams is playing at a ridiculous level. Rams are dangerous, man. I'm just telling you, they're going to make, not only are they going to make the playoffs, they're going to be a tough out. It's going to be a tough out. I liken them to my favorite NBA team, the Memphis Grizzlies. Ja Morant is back. Demetrius Jamel Durant is back, and the league has to pay. Hell hath no fury like a damn player scorned. We just beat the Pacers up tonight. That's 2 in a row. And I'm listening to clowns like Kenyon Martin and Brandon Jennings and Gilbert Arenas talking up like we got some scrubs on our team. Brandon Jennings was the only one that was like, bro, they making the playoffs. What are you talking about? Bro, we making the goddamn playoffs. The question is, are we taking somebody out when we get there? But that's another story for another day. That's how these Rams are. They making the playoffs. Now the question is, are they taking somebody out when they get there? May not be good enough to win a chip this year, but are they taking somebody out when they get there? We'll see. Unlike the NBA, you don't got to win 4 times. You just got to win once. For the Saints, it's the same shit, different toilet. I've already explained to you that I can't put my finger on exactly why the Saints continue to just struggle. And I can't tell you why the Saints aren't better than 7-8 this season. Other than Derek Carr in and out of the lineup, his inconsistent play from time to time, all of the injuries that you've incurred, whether it's been Michael Thomas, Chris Olave, Rashid Shaheed, Jawan Johnson was out for an extended period of time. You know, I go on and on offense. Derek Carr, he hasn't missed a start, but he's been out of the lineup. He's been out of like 3 or 4 different games and didn't finish, and Jameis Winston had to finish up. You blew the game against Green Bay early in the season. If you don't make the playoffs and you miss it by a game, that's one of the games you turn and you look at and you say, that's why we ain't made the playoffs right there. And, you know, as a fan, those are the kind of games that stick in your craw because you miss an opportunity by not taking care of business in that game. And you were up 17-0. There's no excuse to lose that game. Derek Carr gets hurt. You don't score another point, and you lose that game 18-17 to the Packers. And again, there's no excuse for that. But shit happens, right? So at the end of the day, this is a 7-8 ball club. They're inconsistent on offense. Derek Carr continues to put up empty 300-yard stat games that mean absolutely nothing. I challenge you to see how many games Derek Carr has 300 yards passing and how many of those games the Saints have actually won. My guess is that in 300-yard games, I'm going to say Derek Carr in 15 games this season, Derek Carr has thrown for 300 yards 8 times. And in those games, the Saints are 2-6. That's my guess. Somebody correct me if I'm wrong. Somebody look that stat up for me. I could look it up myself, but I trust that somebody will look it up for me and tell me that either I'm right or, hey, you just slightly off. I'm not off by much. Actually, he's only thrown for 300 yards 7 times, Louie T, and he's 2-5 in those games. Okay, I was off by a game. But, or you might be like, yeah, he threw it for 300 yards 6 times, and he's 1-5 in those games. I was off by 2 games, but I knew he stunk it up. They haven't won those games. Like, this is another one of those games where I'm like, bro, this wasn't a 300-yard game. It was 300 yards because the Rams were like, yeah, you can have all the shit you want underneath, bro. Have at it. Knock yourself out. You still ain't winning the game. Do whatever you got to do. Let's just get this shit over with. Where I'm the most disappointed in the Saints, because I don't trust Derek Carr at all. Didn't trust him when you signed him. I just thought you were the most complete team in the NFC South. I'm actually disappointed in the fact that you haven't taken control of that division. But what I'm most disappointed in is this defense, because you got a defensive-minded head coach in Dennis Allen, and I thought this defense was built to compete. It's a veteran defense. You got enough young parts on this veteran defense, like Alontae Taylor and Pete Werner and guys like that, that you infused with the veterans like Cam, like Demario Davis, and the corner from Ohio State. Why am I blanking on his name? Marshawn Lattimore. Like, you got enough of those dudes where you should be able to work in a Paulson Adebo, a Pete Werner, right? Granderson just got a contract extension. He's your best guy off the edge this year. And for good reason, he got the contract. He's been playing excellent football. And you know, those kind of guys, you're supposed to be able to work those dudes in and have a nice, healthy mix with Tyrann Mathieu of veterans and young guys. And his defense was supposed to be really good this year. And, you know, Alontae Taylor. And it just hasn't, for whatever reason, the defense has been hit or miss. Some weeks, they're dominant. Other weeks, not so much. This week, they weren't good. The Rams were moving it up and down the field. So, it's hard. And then your place kicker, Groupie, I think his name is, right? He stinks. And he's young, and I don't like running young kickers out of the mix. I like to give them an opportunity to figure it out. But he hasn't been consistent at all. So you trade your place kicker to Denver because Sean Payton is very familiar with your old kicker. I forgot his damn name, but he's in Denver now because, like, Sean was like, let me go get my boy. I trust him. Know he's got a big leg. We in Denver, so that's going to make his leg even bigger. Let me go get him. And you replace him with a rookie, and your rookie hasn't been hitting on shit this year. There's a lot fundamentally wrong with the Saints this year. And again, I can't quite put my finger on like one or two things in particular other than injuries and inconsistencies, but it's more than that. But you're 7-8. You're not out of anything, right? You're not out of anything. Still in the wild card at 7-8. Still in the NFC South divisional race at 7-8. Now you just need help for both. But we'll see what happens. Anyway, I digress. Let's get to the comment section. See what y'all got to say. Just so y'all know, I don't know if y'all saw how low my eyes were, but my wife did it to me. She's the cause of all this because generally we don't get it in on Thursdays. We don't start the drinking of wine and stuff till Friday weekends, right? But she's out of school now, right? So she doesn't have work. So she's like, yo, we can get it in on Thursday. Why not? Started early. I wasn't going to stop her. Here we are. Feeling good. Let's chop it up. And let me dispel one thing. So somebody, my guy, Who was it? Why am I blanking? I can't. So where's my phone? Let me get my phone. Because I had somebody trying to get at me in the comment section of one of my Washington videos. Mega, my guy Mega, asked me, did I color my beard? No, I didn't color my beard. All I did was I cut it down. I grained it, right? And I had my barber grain it this time. As you can see, you know, I had long hair down here. I had my hair out this way. I said, just keep it dark. Grain it, though. Take it down all the way. This is me, bro. This is all me. Why are you trying to put some? He asked me, did I dye my beard? Did I put some color in my? Nah, bro. This is all me. Like, why I can't have my little? I just trimmed it down. That's it. Like, give me some respect. I fought for this. I worked for this for years, and you trying to take it from me? Come on, man. Give me my little bit of respect, bro. Anyway, I digress. Let's get to the comment section. Let's see. Y'all know how this works. If you don't, use the hashtag LouieTLive to have your comment read on the air. If it is pertinent, we'll get to it. If you want to make sure that your comment is read, Louie T, use the super chat function to ensure that your comment gets read. So, anyway, I digress. John Wynn writes, is the San Francisco 49ers defense way more deadlier than the Rams defense in the playoffs this year? Because I think my Seattle Seahawks are completely screwed. I don't think you're going to see either one of those teams in the playoffs, personally. The 49ers defense is really good. I don't think the Rams defense is all that great. It's a well-coached defense, I'll say that. But they don't scare anybody. They don't get a ton of pressure on the quarterback. You know, this isn't the Jalen Ramsey, Leonard Floyd, Von Miller, Aaron Donald version of this defense, where they were flying around and they had guys on the back end that could hurt you. You know, Troy Hill and all of those guys, when they had all those guys in the secondary. I was a big Darius Williams fan. He's in Jacksonville now. Like, that's not who they are anymore. So, no, this defense isn't that. But the 49ers defense is that good. Absolutely. The 49ers defense is legit. Sovereign Legacy. Thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Who writes, Lou, hey, Lou, don't be spilling that glass no more for the wine fund, bro. I got it in my hand. You ain't got to worry about me spilling a damn thing, bro. Sovereign Legacy, you blessed me with the 10 spot last time. I was like, here's for the wine fund. I saw you had an accident. I'm going to go ahead and bless you. Now you like, hey, I'm going to give you this last 5 spot. I'm not blessing you again. Don't spill it, bro. It's in my hand. I already told y'all. Look, man, I told y'all. You ain't got to worry about me being a repeat offender. I keep telling y'all, I don't like people who are repeat offenders. Don't make the same mistake multiple times. If I tell you something once, I expect you to remember that, so I don't have to rehash that again and keep repeating myself. I made the mistake the last time. You ain't got to worry about that. I put the wine off to the side while I was talking and during my whole monologue spiel at the beginning when I was going through both teams. Once I was done with that and I got to the comment section, in my hand. You ain't, first of all, and my wife is like, you need to put it all the way around the back of the computer. I'm like, this ain't a Commanders video. I'm not going to get so animated and hyped when my hands are flying everywhere while I'm going to knock the shit over. I'm good. I know who I am. I know me. But I appreciate you, though. I appreciate you, Sovereign Legacy, man. Big ups. Anyway, I digress. Niners fan. Right? I really don't want to see the Rams in the playoffs. I know you don't want to see the Rams in the playoffs. Of all people, you damn sure don't want to see the Rams in the playoffs because they got your damn number. You've been a little bit better here of late against the Rams, but you don't want it. When they're good, you can't beat them. That's how they got to the Super Bowl in 2021. You can't beat them. So you definitely don't want to see the Rams in the playoffs if they play competent football. That's why you need to get the number 1 seed, because you probably won't see them in the playoffs. The likelihood is you won't see them because somebody will do your dirty work for you. The 2 or the 3 seed will knock them off. But if they don't, and I've said this, the 1 seed could be very, very treacherous waters this year for the NFC, because you could have to play both Philadelphia and Dallas as the 1 seed. For you in particular, you might rather do that than have to play the Rams, because it's family business and them boys know you and they know how to beat you. You might be like, nah, bring Dallas and Philadelphia ass on. Don't give me the Los Angeles Rams. I don't want to see these bastards at all. I don't think you want any part of that at all. Young Dex writes, I'm tired of watching Dennis Allen get out-coached and making dumb decisions like that onside kick. Young Dex, let's talk about it. Let's speak on this shit. So I'm gonna leave Dennis Allen out of this conversation because he's not alone in this stupid shit that NFL coaches do. I can't stand this shit. NFL coaches do this way too often. And I see this all the time. And I'm going to tell you what the thought process is, because this shit didn't make any sense to me either, Young Dex. Okay? So this is what NFL coaches think. And this is what the analytics tell them. You kick the onside kick because you get 2 opportunities to possess the ball once. That's all you need is 1 possession. So if you kick the onside kick and you don't get it, you still got 3 timeouts. You can stop them. And you can still get the ball back. To me, that's bullshit. Because the percentage, since they changed the rules on the onside kick, first of all, it was already tough to recover an onside kick before they changed the goddamn rules. Since they changed the rules and say you can't have more than, I think it's 5 defenders on one side of the field, or maybe it's 6. I know it's no more than 6 on one side, and you can't load it up and try to go after the football. I think 1 team has recovered an onside kick this year in like 32 opportunities. Like the percentage is so minute. It's so small at this point that you're not going to recover. So just for me, it wouldn't even matter if onside kicks were being recovered at an enormous rate. And it was becoming this big thing in the NFL where you could recover an onside kick. I still would kick the bitch deep just off of the principle of this. If I kick the football deep and I do get the stops and I use all 3 of my timeouts, and they got to punt the football with 1:47 left, guess what? I'm going to have great field position with no timeouts and an opportunity to go and get me a score. Even if I fair catch the football at the 22-yard line, that's better than kicking the onside kick, them recovering it, me getting the stop, using all 3 of my timeouts, and then they punting the ball, and then me having to start at my own 7-yard line. That's bullshit with no timeouts. Needing a touchdown. I'd much rather start at my own 22. I'd much rather start at my own 32. I'd much rather start at my own 37 because I kicked the ball off deep. They took a knee, or they allowed it to go into the end zone, started at 25. They ran it twice. Got 2 yards, 3rd and 8 from their own 27. It's a completed pass. They run a wide receiver screen, but we tackle them 3 yards short of the first down, right? They're punting from their own, 32-yard line, and I fair catch the ball at my own 32-yard line. I'd much rather do that shit and have to go the length of the field in 1:40 with no timeouts. Go, 68 yards in a minute, and then to have to go 92 yards like the Seahawks did on Monday Night Football with 1:40 and no timeouts. And I don't understand that logic. Oh, I get 2 cracks at no, because even if let's say they get a first down on first down, so they don't take 3 downs, they run it on first down and they get 11 yards. And I call my first time out. They run it again, I stop them. They run it again, I stop them. And then they run it again on 3rd down, and they don't get shit. but they let the clock run for 40 seconds and they call a timeout. They in field goal range now. Like, that's the dumb shit. Like, I just don't get that. Because even if you kick it off deep and they get the 1 first down on first down, you call your 3 timeouts and they run off 40 seconds and you get it back with, let's say, 50 seconds left. At least you still got a shot because they punt the ball and now you're at your own, 24-yard line. At least you got a shot. It's a small one, but at least you got a shot. You can get to midfield and throw a Hail Mary. But if you down 8 like the Saints were in this game, or you're down 7 or you're down 6 and you onside kick it, they recover, they get 1 first down, and now they're in field goal range and the kicker is able to make a 54-yard field goal. I mean, that's risky. You could probably more likely to punt it. But even if they punt it and they down it at the 3 or you fair catch it at the 6, shit, you got to go 94 yards in 50 seconds without a timeout. What's more realistic? Needing 68 yards or 72 yards in 50 seconds, or just even getting 22 or 23 yards to get to midfield so you can throw a Hail Mary, versus I'm at my own 6 and I need 44 yards to get to midfield to throw a real Hail Mary. Like, what are we talking about? To me, that's the dumbest shit. You're not going to recover the onside kick. Kick the bitch deep. You got 3 timeouts. If you can't get a stop, you don't deserve to have a chance to win the game anyway. Dennis Allen isn't the only coach that does that stupid shit. I see coaches every week think about analytics. Well, we get 2 opportunities to possess the ball once. No, you're not going to recover the onside kick. Kick it deep. That would be my philosophical approach every time. If I got 3 timeouts and I score a touchdown with 1:56 left, or I score a touchdown on the other side of the 2-minute warning, or I score a touchdown with 2 minutes left, or I score a touchdown with 1:48 left, and I got 3 timeouts, I'm kicking the bitch deep. To hell with an onside kick. I'm only kicking an onside kick if I only got 1 timeout or no timeouts left or 2 timeouts left, and I know if I kick this bitch deep, the likelihood of me getting it back with even a remote chance is slim or none. I got 3 timeouts. I'm kicking the damn ball off deep. I don't care if there's 48 seconds left. I'm kicking the bitch deep because the best chance that I have is to kick it deep, to stop you on 3 consecutive plays, use all 3 of my timeouts, and hope your punter shanks the football. Even if he shanks it after an onside kick, I still got to go the length of the field. If he shakes it from his own, he kicks the ball. Let's say you stop him after a 1, a 2, and a 1-yard gain, right? From their own 25. That's 29-yard line they punt from. Your punter's probably got his heels on the 15-yard line, and he shanks the bitch, and you get the football at the plus 48-yard line. You in business with 32 seconds left. You got a shot. 1 good completion, a spike, and you got 2 shots at the end zone potentially, right? Anything could happen. But that same shank after an onside kick, you still got to go 68 yards for a touchdown, right? You understand what I'm saying? Like, I just don't understand. I know I went on a rant, but that shit bothers me when teams do that shit. Stupid as hell. Anyway, I digress. Sorry for that. That shit bothers me, though. I don't understand that logic. Young Dex. John Wynn, what was the disrespectful thing you said about Matthew Stafford? I didn't hear that part of the story. So since you brought him up, I'm going to just go ahead and do this right now. Double O for Matthew Stafford. I didn't want to do this. You know, I hate offering up double O's. This is me admitting like the ultimate I was wrong. And I don't like doing this very often, but when you're wrong, right? As a wise man once said, when you broke, you're home. When you got money, you got buku places to go on. Well, when you're wrong, you're wrong. And when you're wrong, you got to offer up a double O, huh? Yeah. Okay. I was wrong, Matthew. You're not done. You're not cooked. I don't need to stick a fork in you. Your body's not completely breaking down on you. You can still play at a very high level in this league. I apologize. I mean, 14 touchdowns, 1 interception over this stretch where they've gotten back to 500. Ridiculous. He's playing like Kirk Herbstreit talked about a throw he made against the Commanders, and if you didn't watch that game, which I wouldn't advise you to watch that game. It was a bad game. But I'm a Commanders fan, so of course I sat through the entire 2 hours and 47 minutes of that football game. I'll just tell you, he made a throw on a third down that looked like he was throwing the bitch away. In the pocket, flat-footed, sidearm to the sideline, and I go, bro, what the come out watching right now? What did you just do? Bro, that's some glitch Madden shit. I just, like, literally, if you played Madden back in the day, that was some glitch Madden shit. Where you like, come on, bro. The game effing up. Let me take the disc out, wipe it off a little bit, put the shit back in, because that's some glitchy shit. The man stood in a pocket, flat-footed, didn't even turn his body towards the throw. He just flinged a bit. It looked like he was throwing it away. I knew on the third down and about 9, I just knew he was throwing the bitch away. And he hit a receiver on the sidelines for a first down. Like, nobody else in the league, I don't give it. Mahomes ain't even doing that shit, bro. Rodgers ain't doing that shit, bro. Nobody else in the league is doing that type of shit that Matthew Stafford is on. Where that throw, go look at that throw against the Commanders on a third down and like 9. And his guy toe drags the sidelines. You go, bro, did you mean to do that? No, you didn't. No way. No way. No, Stafford, he could throw damn near from his shoe tops. He got so many damn arm slots and angles he could throw from. He meant to do that shit. This dude is different, man. Stafford is different. He's different. He did that shit again tonight. It wasn't as good as the Commanders throw. But he did another one of them shits where it's flat-footed, his body facing this way, sidearm that way, and he delivers a dime on the third down. Like, I was disrespectful to Matthew Stafford because I said, bro, you done. It's over, Matt. No, Mama named him Matthew. I'm going to call him Matthew. It's over, Matthew. It's over, bro. You got you a chip. It's okay. It's okay. Don't make Father Time come tap you on the shoulder, man. Friends know when to say when. I'm telling you, as a friend, it's over. He's like, bro, I still got some left. I'm good. I said, man, it's always something with you. It's a finger. It's a shoulder. It's a concussion. It's a back. Like, it's over, bro. He's like, I'm telling you, I still got it. I can play 3-4 more years. I say, okay, then you tripping now. Like, see, you in denial. He ain't in denial. He says he playing his ass off right now. He playing his ass off right now. John Wynn, thank you for the comment, who writes, the Lions fans are going to be loud and erupting in playoffs at Ford Field soon for the first time since 2016. Well, I don't think they had a playoff game. First of all, the Lions haven't had a home playoff game since 1993. They haven't won a division game. They haven't won the division since 1993. So they made it to the playoffs in 2016 against the Dallas Cowboys with Dak Prescott in his rookie season, and they lost. They got robbed in that game. It was pass interference on their tight end, Pettigrew, right? It was pass interference, and they didn't call it. But they ain't been at home since 1993 in a playoff game. Coincidentally enough, I think the last time they was at home, they beat Dallas. Not 1993. They did win the division that year in 93, I believe. But 91, they went to the NFC Championship game, lost to my Washington Redskins. They beat Dallas that year. That was the year that Dallas was on the come up. And obviously Dallas went to the Super Bowl and won it the next 2 years, 92 and 93. So I think the Lions won the division in 93, though. I think. Won a playoff game and then lost to Dallas. I think. May not be the case. 91 for sure. They won the division, went all the way to the NFC Championship game, and lost to the Washington Redskins. They haven't had a home playoff game since the early 90s. I know that much. So they're going to be rocking in Detroit. And if they win that division, and I can't see any way that they don't win the division. The Vikings aren't good enough to take that from them. John Wynn says, if the Lions lose a wild card, somebody this year, I would be fit to somebody this year. I would be feeling bad for the Lions fans, especially after the Lions lose to the Seahawks one time a few years back. It would suck. What I envision for the Lions is similar to what happened for the Bengals. If you recall, it was a very similar situation. The Bengals won the division for the first time in what felt like a long time, probably like 2006, since like that Carson Palmer era. They hadn't won the division. They've been a really good team though, but they didn't win the division a ton. They made it to the playoffs, but they always lost. They finally beat the Raiders in 2021. And that's their first playoff victory since the early 90s, I believe. And then they ended up going to Tennessee, beating them, to the Chiefs in the AFC Championship game, winning that game and get the Super Bowl. I don't think the Lions are going to do that. But I do think they're going to win their first game, get to the divisional round, and that may be where their journey ends. They could win that game and get to the NFC Championship game. I don't see them beating San Francisco if the 49ers are there. Somebody might do their dirty work for them. Who knows? John Wynn says, and I thought the Saints were so close to making a comeback win versus the Rams tonight too. I never thought they were coming back. As a matter of fact, I turned the game off initially at 30-16 to prepare for the game. And then I turned it back. I'm like, nah, I ain't going to do that. It's still a 2-score game. It's not 3 scores where the game's definitely over. It's still 2-score. I turned it back on in time enough to see the Saints move it down the field, score the touchdown. So, and get the 2-point conversion as well to cut it to a 1-score game. So, Young Deck says, we have no identity and our coaching staff holds back the aging talent that we still have. I'm glad to have a Saints fan to kind of fill me in because I've been talking about this all season long. I can't put my finger on why the Saints aren't good. I just know they're not good, and there's reasons for it other than just injuries and lack of consistency. There's other things going on at work that I just can't quite put my finger on. So not having an identity is one, and the coaching staff holds back the aging talent. So you think that the veterans should play more, or are you trying to say that they should play less and they should let the young guys take over? Or are you saying that the veterans are still good enough to play and they're putting young guys out there and they're struggling? Which is it? What are you trying to say? Help me with that part. John Wynn writes, if the Rams somehow make it to the NFC Championship and the Super Bowl and run this year, I'm going to go back to Universal Studios, Hollywood Studio in LA, LOL. That ain't happening this year. Like I said, the NFC is top heavy. So you're going to have to get past either Dallas, Philly, San Francisco, or all three of them if you're the Rams. And I just don't see that happening. It's too top heavy. They're not good enough to beat all those teams. They might beat one of them, not all three of them. Andre Darden, with so much talk about the next head coach and OC, would you trade a draft pick for a coach, specifically McVay? I'm not interested in trading for any coach, although there's a short list of coaches that you would even entertain or maybe consider trading for, and McVay is on that short list. He's on that short list. But I'm not really interested in trading for a coach. Not really a big give up draft picks for a coach type of guy. So that wouldn't, again, to me, when you trade for a coach, that feels like a move you make when you're close. A la Tampa Bay back in the early 2000s when they had Tony Dungy. they moved on from him. He went to Indianapolis, and they traded for John Gruden because they felt like he could get them over the top. They had been in the NFC Championship game. They had been close, and they kept getting eliminated by the Philadelphia Eagles or whomever. And they trade for Gruden. He brings that offense to Tampa. They get it done. The defense had already been lights out. You coupled that lights out defense with an offense that was capable all of a sudden, and voila, you got a Super Bowl on your hands, right? That's when you trade for a coach to me, because it's worth it. I'm not interested in trading for a coach when I'm in the middle of a rebuild or I'm still trying to figure some shit out and I'm not even close to winning the Super Bowl. Not interested in trading for a coach then. So I'm not so much as fixated on trading for someone as I am like, what are we going to do with these picks? Because I'm not trying to spend them on a coach. J Moo writes, Jameis forgot to bring his suitcase to this game. Hey, first of all, leave Jameis out of this, man. He will forever be a legend for this. For eating a dub, all right? Leave Jameis out of this. Swifty writes, he is 2-4 throwing for 3. Thank you, Swifty. I said 8 games. I gave him 8 games, I think I said. And I think I said 2-6. And you say it's 6 games and they're 2-4. Thank you. And I knew it wasn't a good record for the Saints because the first week of the season against the Titans, I think they won that game. And I couldn't remember another game in which he threw for 300 yards and they won, other than that Saints game, that Titans game in week 1. And they won that game. I don't think the Titans scored a touchdown in that game. I think they kicked like 5 field goals and almost beat them, but they lost 16-15. Like, it was a nasty game. And that's the type of shit Derek Carr been on. 300-yard game, but you only scored 16 points. And you were lucky to win that game because the Titans were doing all kinds of stupid shit. I think Tannehill threw like 3 interceptions in that game. He had no business winning that game 16-15. Thank you for that, Swifty. Swifty writes, I've seen you drink on Thursday so many times, even though you don't drink a weekday. You're not wrong. I'm going to tell you a lot of times on these Thursdays. So I don't think so many times. I think that's an exaggeration on your part. Thursdays are not often a day where I drink a ton. Like, you might have caught me on a Thursday 2 or 3 times, I'll say. Out of all, what were we at, week 16? So 16 Thursdays, you might have caught me on a Thursday 2 or 3 times this year, max. And I think this might be the first Thursday. But I'm pretty sure y'all can go in the archives, dig up a couple of Thursday nights, and I got a wide glass in my hand, right? But I think no more than 3, right? That's the maximum amount that you would have at your disposal. Now, in the offseason, we're talking Washington because, we move the, Command Post Live. The Commander's Nightly News turns to Command Post Live, and it turns from Wednesday to Thursday. And you might catch me there in the offseason. It'll be a special occasion, though. And I'll tell y'all, look, it's an occasion. I'm going to bust out the drink. Y'all get y'all finest bottle or whatever your vice is. Bring it to the – I'll tell y'all. I'll warn y'all in advance. But don't try to come for me like I'm some type of wino, like I'm Ned the Wino or something. And you catch me on this joint all the time on a Thursday sipping, okay? Don't try to come for my neck. You right now you're on my head top, and I don't appreciate that, Swifty, okay? All right, I'll just let you know you're not moving as quick as you think you're moving. All right, I'm here with you. I might be a little impaired, but I'm here, Swifty. Don't try to come for me. I see what you're doing there, and I don't like it. I don't like it. You also said it's okay. We all drink on weekdays too. I'm not a weekday drinker. Okay, let me rephrase that. I'm not an avid weekday drinker. This is not a normal occasion for me. Okay, just so we're clear, and I need to make sure we're abundantly clear on that. I don't say I don't ever drink on weekdays. I generally don't drink on weekdays. Okay, just so we're clear. You're a funny guy, Swifty. You're a funny dude. You're a funny guy. Samuel Brito writes, I would love to see Detroit win the Super Bowl. They've suffered way too long. See, we differ in that. I don't cater to suffering fan bases. I mean, if they get there and you got to root between two teams that you don't have a rooting interest for, sure, I may pull for the team that's never won a Super Bowl. But I'm not going to make that declaration with 3 weeks left in the regular season. Yeah, I would love to see Detroit. Nah, get there and then we'll talk. I don't feel bad for no fan base. I ain't won shit since 1991. I don't feel bad for nobody. And I know they've never won. I don't care. I've been miserable. At least you made it to the playoffs. At least you've had a chance. At least you had Matthew Stafford. I ain't had shit. I did have Kirk Cousins, but Kirk Cousins isn't even in the conversation for Hall of Fame. Kirk Cousins isn't Matthew Stafford. At least you had Calvin Johnson and Matthew Stafford. You got 2 future Hall of Famers. I think Calvin Johnson is already in. If he ain't already in, he's going. And Stafford will be there eventually. At least you got 2 future Hall of Famers. I ain't got shit. I don't feel bad for nobody. Nobody. John Wynn writes, is the Eagles security guard allowed to work, but this time in the playoffs again after fights break out between San Francisco? Well, he can't work in the regular season, so I guess he'll be back on the sidelines. My guess is for the postseason. I guess. We'll see. But he was in the press box. Like they said in the game on Sunday, or Monday rather, that's a great spot to be. He's inside where it's nice and warm. They got heaters in there. He ain't on the sideline. He'd probably rather be on the sidelines, though, honestly. But he was feeding his face. He was up in the press box. That's the life. See, he probably was like, shit, I need to get suspended more often. This is where I need to be at all times, up in the press box. Niners fan says, Lou, you got it mixed up. We own the Rams in the regular season. Haven't lost it. Okay. So I had it backwards. They beat us in 22 when Tart dropped the pick and Jimmy choked again. I remember the Jaworski Tart. He dropped a punt. That was a punt. Matthew Stafford literally threw that shit 100 miles into the air, and Tart was standing under that bitch. He did a fair catch signal and dropped the bitch. That's how you lost the game. But Rams fans always counter with, well, Ben Skoronski dropped the touchdown pass. And I'm like, okay, fine. Like, if that's what we own, if we go in tit for tat, fine. You're right. He dropped the touchdown pass. But I just know later, that was early in the game. A lot of things could have transpired after that happened to change the outcome. That Jaworski Tart drop interception would have ended the game. Like, the shit was over if he catches that. I do know that, but you got me. I had it backwards. The 49ers own the Rams. McVay can't beat Shanahan. I had it backwards. I thought it was the other way around. And then they finally beat you in the playoffs, which was crazy because we like, yo, they can't beat the 49ers, and then they beat you in the playoffs when it mattered the most, which was wild. Yeah, you're right. I apologize. My deepest sympathies, Niners fan. Thank you for getting me right. Right. I don't want to be spreading misinformation. So I appreciate you for getting me to get my life together right there. John Wynn writes, wait, is the new NCAA College Football 24 video game coming out? I can't tell. I haven't played a video game of a sports variety in ages. I'm not a game head like I used to be. I'm not a game head at all. What am I saying? Once you have kids and you got like life starts happening, you don't have time to do the shit that you used to do when you were, in your teens and 20s and things of that nature. I got real life shit going on. I can't play the game like I used to. I can't even tell you the last time I got to game headed up like I used to back in the day. John Wynn writes, Seattle wants to take the timeout during the whole first half and second half because Pete Carroll is scared to take a delay of game penalty versus Philly. There are a lot of coaches. He's not alone. Pete Carroll isn't the only coach in the league that wants to take a, timeout to avoid delay a game. I'm okay with you doing that in the second half if it's an important portion of the game. It's a vital. Let's say it's third down and 2, third down and 3, third down and even 4, and you're trailing or you're leading and you got a chance to deliver a knockout blow, or you need this third down to keep the drive alive to have a chance to take the lead or tie the game. I get it. Okay. You don't want 3rd and 4 to turn into 3rd and 9. You don't want 3rd and 2 to turn into 3rd and 7. So you call the timeout. Because if you don't call the timeout and you get the delay game, you may not get to a point where having 3 timeouts even matters. So I get that. There's certain instances where it's 3rd and 3 with 8 minutes and 38 seconds left in the third quarter, and you're down 14-10, and you're at the plus 48-yard line. Yeah, you got a chance to keep the drive alive, but do you really want to spend the timeout right now with 8:38 left in the third quarter? That's what we're doing right now? Because for me as a coach, I'd rather go 3rd and 9 from my own 48-yard line after the 5-yard penalty and see if I can convert 3rd and 9 and have all 3 timeouts. Because even if I don't convert that third down because of the penalty, I should be able to punt the football, pin them inside their own 10-yard line. And if my defense is any good and I trust my defense, I'll get a stop. And I'll get the ball back and I'll be right in that same vicinity where I punted the football from. That's my mindset. But what I'm not going to do in a 14-10 ball game that I'm trailing in is waste the timeout, go 3rd and 4 in plus territory, not get it, go for it on 4th down, not get that, and now they got great field position, and whatever happens after that. Even if they go 3 and out, they punt the football, they flip the field position because they're already in great field position. They flip the field position, and now you got to do the shit all over again. I mean, obviously, you could call the timeout, preserve the 5-yard penalty, preserve the 3rd and 4 and not get the 5-yard penalty, convert the 3rd and 4, and go on to score a touchdown. That doesn't ensure you that you're going to win the game up 17-14. All it does is it gives you a chance to take the lead and maybe have a chance to take control of the game. But I value second half timeouts so much so that I'm going to be extremely cautious when I use them. That includes challenges, right? Like Pete was too like, y'all got one of the snaps off. Coincidentally enough, you got one of the snaps off. He went and called the timeout. Drew Lock snapped the ball with 1 second left. He was so paranoid he called the timeout. Like, you can't do that shit. You can't do that. John Wynn writes, when you going to make some Christmas songs on your music universe? Yeah, I was supposed to do my Christmas playlist, and this has been crazy. Like, my son right now is really sick. Like, my son is, so the twins, one of the twins, so I got a boy and a girl, right, that are twins. And the boy of that group is sick right now. And so we're going to take him to the doctor tomorrow morning and check him to make sure he's okay, because he's not himself right now. So, like, little shit like that happens. It throws a monkey wrench in everything that you are planning. Like, I'll have an idea. Okay, I'm gonna be able to get this video off on this day, and then one of the kids doesn't go to daycare. Now they're home with me all day. Now I don't have a chance to do a live video, or my schedule gets altered. I was gonna shoot this video at this time, this video at that time. Now, because they've been home the whole day, I haven't had a chance to shoot any of those videos. Now I got to wait for my wife to come home from work. And now I can shoot video. So life's, right? Life be life. And as I mentioned, shit happens and it throws your whole schedule off. And that's what's happened with MusicHead University, because I wanted to get this Christmas list. I'll do it next year. It's not a big deal. Like when I drop this fire on y'all gonna be like, yo, this shit was well worth the wait. Okay. Some great Christmas music came out this year, so I added to the list. So it's gonna be even more fire when I drop it next year on y'all. But I wanted to drop it this year, but unfortunately I wasn't able to. Abel Ambrosio writes, Derek Carr bringing back the Dougie, and your boy Jaws back. Derek Carr is Derek Carr is a clown, but I ain't mad at him. My wife always says Derek Carr looks like he wears eyeshadow. Man, I'm telling you, Derek Carr's eyes always look dark for no reason. I swear it looks like he wears eyeshadow. She's not wrong. I don't know what the deal is with him and why his eyes, around his eyes. He might actually wear that shit. I wouldn't rule that out with Derek Carr. As far as Ja, I'm telling you, man, we gon' Ja said he keeping receipts, so am I. Because we started the season off 6-19. We got so many injuries and people disrespecting our roster like it's trash. We got so many injuries. Steven Adams is out for the season. We've been without our best three-point shooter for the longest time, right? We've been without Derrick Rose on and off. We've been without Santi Aldama. He missed the early portion of the season. We've been having guys in and out of the lineup. John Conchar, I know that doesn't ring a bell for a lot of y'all, but he was out for a little while. Like, we've been dealing with a ton of injuries. Nobody want to talk about that. And then all the while, Desmond Bane has turned into a bona fide number 2 scorer in this league. And Tripp is starting to play more aggressive, and he's a bucket in the paint. All of a sudden, you got 3 real options on your basketball team, which is what you need in the NBA to have a chance. You got to have 3. We got 3 now. Because of Ja's absence, these dudes have been allowed to step up and kind of grow into a different role. Be scorers, be primary ball handlers, etc., etc. And people acting like these dudes don't exist. Now that Ja's back, they're gonna probably be properly slotted as 2 and 3s instead of 1 and 2s. And you don't think we got a shot to get hot? You don't think we're gonna make the playoffs? Anyway, I digress. Sovereign Legacy writes, first of all, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Double up. Thank you for doubling up. Who writes, I'm out, Lou. Have a Merry Xmas with the fam. See you next week. Amen. Merry Christmas to you and yours. Happy holidays. I appreciate the support. And again, as I've mentioned numerous times, hopefully you're still here to see this or you watch it on playback. Enjoy this time with the ones you love, because you don't know how many or more of these you're going to get together, right? With the band being what they are. Every year I'm thankful, and I thank God for another opportunity, another 365 with the fam, with mom, with dad, with my sisters, with my nephews, with everybody intact, with the whole gang together, with my wife's mom and her dad and everybody. Like, you just don't know. You don't know. None of this is promised to us. Enjoy it, bro. Cherish the ones you love. Create new memories. Because even when those people are gone, or hell, you might meet your own untimely demise. You never know we'll all have those memories, whether it's you or somebody else thinking about you or whatever the case may be. You just don't know. So create those memories, right? Merry Christmas to you and yours. I appreciate you. Ronald Robinson writes, who's better between Terry or Puka? My friend is a Rams fan and thinks Puka is better. I mean, Puka's on a tear this year. I mean, his numbers dwarf Terry's, but again, Puka's playing with Matthew Stafford. So a little different, but Terry's done it. Like, Puka's got to do it. I've seen a guy come in the league and have 1,000 yards in his rookie season and flame out. I don't think Puka's going to do that. But I've seen that happen multiple times, you know. So I can't – he's not better than Terry McLaurin right now. Yeah, right. He's good, though. He's really good, and he's having a hell of a rookie season. But he's not better than Terry McLaurin. Who are we kidding? Tell him to stop that foolishness. John Wynn writes, I feel like the refs are going to hate Seattle in the playoffs more than any other team due to bad penalty calls. I mean, I can't tell you how to feel, but you can't go into the playoffs thinking the refs are against you. Like, it's almost like you looking for a built-in excuse as to why y'all not going to win. You know, you can I only complain after the referees do stupid shit. I'm not one of those people, oh, man, this guy has it out for us, even though there is a referee in particular that I don't want doing Commanders games ever, right? Adrian Hill. I never want to see him do a Commanders game ever again. Of course, he's going to end up doing a Commanders game. I'm not going to go into that game thinking, oh, shit, we don't have a shot because Adrian Hill's doing the game. I'm just going to be like, I'm watching your ass. I'm watching you. But that doesn't mean I expect bad calls to take place. I don't like blaming the officials. Anybody that knows me knows I'm not a big blame the officials guy because I'm a boxing fan. And in boxing, you have an opportunity to take matters into your own hands. Don't allow the judges to decide the outcome because you just don't know what they're looking at. I feel the same way in football. Like, you got a chance to dominate the game. They could call holding on every play. They may bring a play back. Oh, you got an illegal man downfield. Like, bro, he was barely down. Like, you going to really call that? Look, at the end of the day, if you make enough plays, they can't call a penalty every time you make a play. If you make enough plays, you're going to win the football game. That's that for me. Oops. Abel Ambrosio. Thank you for the comment, who writes, your top 3 Christmas movies of all time. So tomorrow's podcast was going to be centered around just like random shit. This would have been perfect for the podcast tomorrow. But you asked the question, so I'm going to answer it right now. This probably be the last one that I get to because we'll be at our 1 hour and 20-minute mark. Top 3 Christmas movies. Home Alone. Whether it's 1 or 2, knock yourself out. And a lot of people don't love 3. I thought 3 with Alex D. Links, the new kid not named Macaulay Culkin, was a good movie. Home Alone 3 was really good too, but it's not better than the first 2, obviously. 2 might be better than 1. Home Alone 2 might be better than 1, but at the end of the day, Home Alone is on the list. I won't be a glutton here and go Home Alone 1 and 2 and take the cheap, easy road. One of the Home Alone movies you pick, doesn't matter to me. That's one. Friday After Next. I know a lot of people don't consider that an actual Christmas movie, but the theme is Christmas, right? It's centered around Christmas. He gets beat with a Christmas tree. There's a bad Santa that's robbing people, right? You get Christmas music throughout. The theme is it's Christmas time. It's a Christmas movie. So Friday After Next. That's another one. And let's think of another Christmas movie. You probably got to go with one of the the Christmas Vacation movies with Chevy Chase. That's not my speed though. You know, some people would go that route. That's not my speed. But I did want to bring them up. Somebody also told me, I think it was my guy Reed, told me that Die Hard is actually a Christmas movie. I'm good. Not gonna pick that one. I'm trying to think of a Christmas movie that I actually enjoy. I've given you two already. You know, whether it's Home Alone 1, 2, or 3, or 1 or 2 in particular, and then Friday After Next. Oh, my daughter and my son watched this shit endlessly, and it made it a movie that I watched way too often, and I do really enjoy that movie now. Jingle All the Way will be my third and final answer. So those are my three. Friday After Next, Home Alone, Jingle All the Way. Those are my three. Those are my three. Oh, you went the cartoon route. Polar Express, Charlie Brown, and Frosty the Snowman. How old are you, man? That's you really showing your age right there, John. Like, those are all old school movies, bro. Not Polar Express, but the Charlie Brown Christmas is like from probably the 60s. And Frosty is probably from the 60s as well. If not the 60s, definitely the 70s. Anyway, I digress. That's the last comment, and we hit our mark, so we're out of here. Big win for the Los Angeles Rams over the Saints. Remember, both of these teams came into the game at 7-7, so this is a massive matchup. The Rams can't win the division. The 49ers have already clinched the NFC West, so they can only get the wild card. Meanwhile, the Saints have the division to fall back on. If they don't win a wild card spot outright, they got the division still in the balance with the Buccaneers at 7-7 and the Falcons at 6-8. They're right there, right? So they are in the mix in their division no matter what happens. But you want to put yourself in a position that if you don't win the division, wild card is still in play. Losing this game to the Rams was detrimental to that. They don't have the tiebreaker over the Rams, and really they don't have the tiebreaker over many teams this season. They already lost to Minnesota. They lost to this Rams team. They're struggling in the tiebreaker department. So we'll see what happens with them moving forward. But I don't like the Saints. I've said this already. I don't think they're going to make the playoffs. And meanwhile, the Rams do look like a playoff team. I expect them to make the playoffs, and I expect them to be a team that nobody wants to face in the wild card weekend of the playoffs, because they're going to be a dangerous team and a tough out. And if they stay healthy, watch out. This Rams team is peaking at the right time of the season. They get it done tonight, 30-22. The score really doesn't indicate how dominant they were. This was a 30-7 ball game, much like last week against the Commanders, 28-7, and then it ended up 28-20. Same thing here applies. This was a 30-7 ball game. It ended up 30-22, but they dominated this football game, did the Rams. And again, need to tighten up in the red zone. They could have won this game comfortably and put the Saints completely out of their misery, and they missed a field goal, which was pivotal. It was 10-0. They make the field goal. It's 13-0. I don't know if the Saints score in the first half. Instead, he missed the field goal, gave the Saints great field position. They score, got the football back, had a chance to score again, and then the pivotal moment for the Saints, that was the pivotal moment for the Rams at that time, was the missed field goal, because they could have really put the Saints in a bind, down 13, 2 touchdowns essentially. Whereas they gave them great field position. They went out and got a touchdown with the bomb to Rashid Shaheed. The Saints, however, after cutting the deficit to 3 at 10-7, had the football, were on the move, missed the 3rd and 5 to Rashid Shaheed or to Chris Olave, and then went for it on 4th down, didn't get it, and they never really recovered after that. Gave up a touchdown before the half, made it 17-7, and the Rams pretty much ran away from there. So Rams are now 8-7. Feel like they're in a great position to get one of these wild card spots. Meanwhile, the Saints dropped to 7-8. Not in a great position right now with that loss. However, a lot of football to be played this weekend for teams that are 7-7, right in that mix. We'll see what happens with those teams. But more importantly, they're still in the mix in the NFC South. If Tampa Bay loses to Jacksonville and Atlanta loses or wins, it doesn't matter. They're all 7-8. If Atlanta loses, they're 6-9 and they're fading. So regardless of what happens, they'll be still in that mix. Even if Tampa Bay wins and gets to 8-6 or 8-7, excuse me, they'll still be one game behind them, and they still have another date with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, albeit on the road. So they still have a chance no matter what. So anyway, I digress. That's going to do it for me, your man Louie T, here on the Thursday night football overtime. Big game. Saints drop to 7-8 with the 30-22 loss. Rams get the win and continue to play great football. 8-7. Stafford, another 2 touchdown tosses, no interceptions, 14 touchdowns, 1 interception over like the last 6 games or so. He's been on a torrid pace. This Rams team is dangerous. See you guys next time. Have a good one.